Yo, what's going on? This is the NRW Nerds. Rule the world. It's your boy, Kuya P, aka the Adobro, the Babinka boy, the leader of the Holla Holla homies in the center gang of the ShoPowSho. Your man, Patrick.strange, aka Kuya P. Today, I'm missing the amazing Ates. They couldn't be with me because it's not our normal recording day, but this is the only time I could get this amazing guest who's about to join me in just a second. Man, if there was a multiverse, or for real multiverse, and I was born in an NYC, because y'all know I love to spend a lot of time up there with all the family and friends I got up there, then I would probably be best friends with this cat. This guy would be my kuya. We would be pares, because this guy is with comic books. He's about hip hop, and man, and I'm sure there's a lot more, and we're gonna get into it. But yeah, so I'm really excited. We've been trying to get this going for a minute. So really excited to have this brother come through. Like he says, this is the Beast Coast, the East Coast. And I'm not going to take away his rhymes because it's been a minute since I rhymed and I'm an old head now. But let me show you a little bit of him when he was on Mix. Shout out to Mix Global. Shout out to Rosa. Oh my God, Cobarubius. All my people over at Mix Global, ABS-CBN, all the love over there. But my brother was on Mix, killing it. Here's a little bit of a track that I saw that he was through recently. I'm going to put that on. And then when we come back, we'll be back with my man, Bayani Teodosio, the realest. Bayani, here we go.
Stories don't always end how they start. I know there's something special in the way I talk. Money has long convos inside my thoughts. For you to gain, are you ready to take the loss? On the East Coast, baby, that's the East Coast. Chilling on a beach flow. Philippines to Puerto Rico, your legs, I need those. Round my ears like beats though. No producer, but mama, you get the beats though. Haha, smile and let your teeth show. Pop your collar, leather, lightning like grease though. After this, we should take a flight to Greece in the morning on a wave like 97Z, bro. Wavier than Santorini on a speedboat. Enemies doing Santeria, they wishing evil on my achievements. This that commander-in-chief flow. Reppin' for my tribe, I'm a datu. Lapu lapu, Campilon machete chop you. My real rights, I got you. I'm reppin' my tribe, I'm a datu. Lapu lapu, Campilon machete chop you. For my real rights, I got you. Stories don't always end how they start. I know there's something special in the way I talk. Money has long convos inside my thoughts. For you to gain, are you ready to take the loss? Stories don't always end how they start. I know there's something special in the way I talk. Money has long convos inside my thoughts. For you to gain, are you ready to take the loss? For me, rhyming's an instinctive reflex. I wish we could start this year over and reset. I know there's no taking back the things that we said. Who else calls out your BS? Go in like Nate Diaz, go in Key West, chilling like a white dude on SS. While he's vibing the Led Zeps, get that Tetris type block work, filling the missing pieces. My future wifey's a ninja with telekinesis, yeah. I learned how I reach it, I learned then I teach it. My high priestess knows I practice what I'm preaching. Up for my fake friends for leaving, for real though, thank you for leaving. Your friendships were artificial, I sensed ulterior motives about you. I mean, I ain't here with you, I mean, I'm here without you. The real truth is I only let you know what I allow you. Stories don't always end how they start. I know there's something special in the way I talk. Money has long convos inside my thoughts. For you to gain, are you ready to take the loss? Stories don't always end how they start. I know there's something special in the way I talk. Money has long convos inside my thoughts. For you to gain, are you ready to take the loss? Yeah. For my woes, whoa, 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 whoa.
Boom, there you go. That's my man, Bayani Teodosio, and you see him on the screen, the realest. Bayani, what's good, fam?
Bayani, represent for my bro Patricio.
Hey, the tribe. What's good? Man, we've been trying to make this happen, man. You are just killing it. I'm a comics head, and then you're a hip hop head, and then to be real with you, there's a lot of MCs, and sometimes when you people like, yo, I'm an MC too. Yo, check out my stuff. It ain't always up to snuff, bro, and you know what I'm talking about. So when I peeped you, I was like, okay, I hope he's nice, because if he ain't nice, bro, I don't know. But you're nice, bruh. So mad respect. And I'm not just saying it to you. I'm really for real with it. You are nice. And you got the comics love in there. And then the fact that you're Filipino, from my heart, that's our people's. That's our, bruh, you repping. And, your company's, the city needs you, but the Philippines needs you, and you are representing to the fullest. Thank you so much for doing that, man. I love it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you bringing me on board today, man.
Definitely. So today, man, if you're not familiar, I think you are, but this is all about celebrating you, because we don't need to give the flowers when we're dead and gone. We need to give it right now, because we know tomorrow isn't promised. And that's what I'll do for you, my man. I'm enjoying what you're doing. I know NYC loves you, what you're doing. And you also got love over on the West Coast too. I saw you mixing it up with my boy Patricio, Lawrence, everybody with the Lumpia with the Vengeance Squad. That's the family too. So it's a small world, and I love it, man. So today you are getting your flowers, bruh.
Yo, okay? Appreciate you, fam. Thank you, bro.
Definitely.
Thank you, Kuya P. Salamat po, man.
Oh, of course, man. Maraming salamat. No worries, bro. So let's get into it. Let me go ahead and put it on speaker view, because we're gonna go back and forth. I want the world to see you, and not just just two small screens. It's gonna be all you and me back and forth. So yeah, man, I want to take you through your journey. We want to go about your ups and downs. What made you into from Mark Marvel to the realest Bayani. I checked out some of the information about you online. Shout out to let me give them love, because they did a great article on you, geekanything.com. And Ben Silverio. That was the brother that laced that up. A good informative article, so I know a little bit about my man. But let's take it back to the beginning. Before I like to do my interviews, I like to give love and light to those that came before, because we wouldn't be here if not for the sacrifice and the struggle that they did that put us here. So if you can tell me a little bit about the fam, your mother, father's journey, aunties, uncles, any ancestor that, kind of, exists, and now you are here. Let's give them some love. So tell me about them.
Peace, fam. So first off, I really appreciate the salute. That was a really major breakdown for the people that don't know me. I go by the name Mark Teodosio. That's actually my clan name. My entire, that's my father's last name. The first of my name on some Game of Thrones, Mark Teodosio. Man, I represented for Aklan, which is the province where my parents are from. I was just talking to my Uncle Jules right now, and they were saying, "Are you still doing the singing?" I'm like, and it's because they put me on stage back when they used to do Atiatihan events. So when I was young, I was singing like, some of the joints they had me sing, Que Sera Sera, like stuff like that. Let's do the twist. You know what I'm saying? Then I started asking them, like, can I perform Juicy, Biggie? Can I perform Dr. Dre, Nothing But a G Thing? And they actually let me do it. And during each performance, they used to throw like quarters onto the stage and stuff like that. So that really gave me that ability to overcome a crowd in front of me already before even having my own lyrics and stuff like that. So, at some point, like during my teenage years, and maybe even preteens, I was on the karaoke machine with the side B instrumental tapes. You know what I'm saying? And this brings it back to, the essence. This is like the essence where, you're really like in the golden era. This is the golden era, Illmatic, 36 Chambers, Onyx's first album, Back the F Up. You know what I'm saying? All these classic joints, are really what gave me the foundation of my energy on stage, the way I carry myself in the industry. It's not the same as the generation now, but as someone that comes from that time, of being seasoned, in New York City especially, I really saw myself evolving with the trap styles, with the drill styles. And I don't really dip so much into that style. I kind of keep it to the essence of New York, but at the same time, I'm able to, surprise, do a record with that kind of artist and stuff like that. But I'm really to the essence, I'm really part of that generation of artists that where the streets was really, really real. And it's not that it's not real now, but we just had way different principles, you know, from why we do things and what motivates our actions. And, you know, so me as an artist, you know, like starting off as really Omen Child. That was my first rap name, Omen Child. And I evolved from that into Mark Marvel, because as Omen Child, I did a record called Marvel Music. And that was like every bar was a Marvel character reference. And then at some point, people just, you know, kind of like associating me with comic books. Every show I was doing, they were like, yo, da da da. And I was like, yo, Marvel came to my name, like came to my mind because I'm a Marvel head.
Yeah.
And around the time I came back into comic books was around the time that Brian Bendis was writing Civil War.
Gotcha.
And that's where, and that was like in 2000, probably like 9, 12, around that time, 2009 to 12. I'm not sure exactly when they dropped that, but that brought me back into comic books. So I became super like connected to merging comic books into the rhymes a little bit in this time where Omen Child transitioned into Mark Marvel. Okay. And it was slick though. It was like a slick way of doing it without sounding like a nerd while you're rapping. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I would kind of merge it and maybe drop 2 or 3 references in the verse. And this was before battle rappers was even doing it. Like battle rappers now, they'll say Pokemon's mad hardcore. Like they'll use Pokemon bars. I'm like, what the? How did that even yo? And you'll see me in the back. I'm like, yo, he just said Pikachu, Peekaboo, bro. Like
yo, let me pull you back, Quicksilver, because you went straight Quicksilver on my interview, bro. I wanted to check, and I love it though. That's why I didn't want to stop you. But we're gonna take a pause real quick because I want to get through those elements. But you took me straight through it, which I love. So shout out to the people. You already got a kind of a glimpse. But yeah, you straight Quicksilver on me, but it's all love, brother. I wanted to find out if like you inherited any of that, like some of the fam, like before you, were your aunties, uncles, performers, singers. You know what I'm saying? Did you inherit? Was that in the blood?
Yeah, my mom's was that when they had karaoke nights, bro, in the Ackland Association, they were called the AKA Friday Nighters. All the titos are in the back, bro, with mad Coors Lights, you know, peeing in the garden, growing mushrooms in the back from like nights later. They used to karaoke all night, bro. New Year's night, you know, like just singing all the classics, bro. Yeah. So like you knew like that was in the blood for them. So for us, you know, like, for the next generation, it was just gonna be our like music, our genres, you know. So I ended up becoming a real artist though, writing original lyrics. I started you know, doing my own stuff when around that time that I was able to buy like mixtapes with the instrumentals on it, you know.
I love it. All right. Okay. So let's talk about it. I'm taking it back to the foundation. I want to build these bricks up before we get to the house of what you're doing right now, my man. So foundation, what brought them here? What generation of you know, Filipino American are you? Did they come here first from the Philippines? Like tell me about that journey to here and you coming up.
Yeah, so my grandmother came first. Okay. And she came here without my father. So while she was getting established, I guess she had petitioned for him to come out, and he eventually came out here, and he grew up maybe like, I'm not sure how many years he spent here before he met my mom, but it was around like 1981 that he met my mom's. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And then by 83, they had me. So, I mean, their reason for being out here is basically the same reason for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Creating a new life, you know, starting a new direction for the legacies.
Dope. Are you the youngest? Do you have any siblings?
I'm the oldest, and I have a younger brother.
Dope. Okay, so tell me growing up, 83, 80s baby, in NYC or were you like the suburbs? Where were you
Sunset
growing up?
I was born in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, in New York. And around that time, it was pretty crazy at that time. It was really crazy at that time. Like, if you picture the movie The Warriors, that's how dudes was carrying it like that. And they were popping off wild crazy too, you know, like they had a whole different way they moved versus this generation now, you know, like, but I grew up in that generation where they were shooting off rooftops, throwing cement, you know, bricks off of rooftops. Like it was crazy when I was little.
Yeah.
And you know, they were playing two-hand touch in the streets, you know, running manhunt, playing manhunt in the park. Like we was outside. We were the outside generation, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
You know, so we definitely come from that grain of being outside for real, for real.
So being you know, that outside generation, and also that you have you immigrant family, you know what I'm saying? And you know, and as Filipinos, you know, our aunties, uncles, our mothers, fathers, they were putting in work. So pretty much, you know, were you raised by the streets? Like what was a young Mark doing between ages 1 to 10? What were you up to? What would your mom and dad
No,
say you were up to?
my parents really took care of me. Like as far as education, you know, they're putting all of us in Catholic schools. Not many of us went to public schools, and if we did, like, you know, the parents was really like too, like they couldn't afford to put you in Catholic school.
Mm-hmm.
But if the parents could, they would sacrifice to put you, you know, through like all the way to like high school if you could, if they could, you know, and they really put me through that education side, which is why I'm such a good lyricist as well. Like I was in the books, I was smart with it, you know, but at the same time, when I went outside, you know, you grew up in a different element. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I was educated. I came from a good family that supported me all the way to, you know, where I am today. And it's just crazy because, you know, I'm grateful for it. Not everybody had that support system when they were young, you know? So I come from a two-parent home, you know, where even though my mom would talk wild fucking thought air about my pops while I'm playing toys or whatever, she's like, you know, your dad has a girlfriend. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, you know, I'm like, yeah, whatever the case is, but they went through it. But these days, their parents get divorced. Some of their parents don't even make it to marriage.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, real talk, bro. That's beautiful. That and I love that. So would you say that foundation is what kept you from really running in them streets and doing stupid shit?
I still do stupid shit.
Facts. True. Because we kind of, you know, we rebel against, you know, the fam a little bit, trying to find ourselves and what we want. Yeah.
Yeah, getting caught in the wrong, you know what I'm saying, crowds or whatever the case is. But thankfully, you know, I had like a solid crew around me, you know what I'm saying? And we really stood out of trouble, you know, even if when we were in trouble, you know, we handled our business correctly.
Dope. So talk to me before we get to like our school years, high school and stuff like that. What were you into? Like, is that when you discovered comic books, you know, anime, TV, you know, cartoons or whatever? To me, that's the golden years of like, as an 80s kid, you know, that's when, you know, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Marvel comic books, you know, what were you peeping? What were you into growing up in the 80s, 90s?
When I was little, my first comic book, like officially in my memory was like 1989. What If, like number 1, I think it was. And I think on the, like in the issue, like all the characters become their names. Like Spider-Man has like spider arms. Daredevil is a devil. You know what I'm saying? So it was a pretty bugged out issue to have. And I don't have it anymore. My classmates, like big brother, borrowed it and never gave it back to me. That was like the last time I got it. But like that was my first comic book in 1989. And around that time, we used to walk to like the comic. There was a record shop that was, you know, where my cousin used to buy all his, you know, albums, his mixtapes, his tapes. And they had a comic book rack there too. So like when he would bring me in, I'll walk to the comic books, but I'll be listening to like Mad Lion or, you know, Ice Cube, you know, damn right, it was a good day in the background while I'm looking at the comic books, like, you know, seeing like Infinity War #4, where, you know, Thanos is like, come get me type shit.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, so yeah, I was into comic books super heavy, like from those days. Like I used to Xerox like comic book, like Todd McFarlane covers and sell them in class just to buy extra soda. You know, for like a nickel.
That's dope.
Sell it for like a quarter, 50 cents.
Crazy. I'll never forget. I think my first McFarlane joint was Hydro on the cover against like 305, 307. It might even be 315. I don't know. I get crazy like with the numbers and shit. Like I remember this, you know, 299 was like the first Venom. Well, going into 300 with Venom. But anyways, I love that. So What If joint was your first comic Marvel joint?
Yeah.
What was your first hip hop tape? Like when, like discovering hip hop, because that's also a big part of you as well. What do you recall? What do you call was like the first like artist that really caught your eye, and then the first tape you might have purchased or CD?
The first single I ever bought was Protect Your Neck, and Method Man on the back. It was a white cassette tape.
Yeah.
The cover, and those were the ones that you had like you slipped into the middle. Like it was you slipped the cassette into it. Those are the singles. They didn't really have the plastic covers like the albums. But that's how you knew Wu-Tang was, you know what I'm saying, coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first single. My first album was The Chronic, Dr. Dre. So that was like my first album. And yeah, man, those are my first two joints. I was really influenced by the West Coast, and you know, being an East Coast cat, it's kind of crazy. I guess I'm supposed to be out there with the other Filipinos.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Wow. Okay. My first tape was Fat Boys, bro, Crushing.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because I think I'm probably a little bit older than, I am, because you said 83. I was born in 77. And so right. It was like Aerosmith with Run DMC when they did Walk This Way, like really got me into hip hop. And then it became Fat Boys, Crushing, and then Heavy D and the Boys. Too. All of them cats, man, as an older head, right? So, but you were around the same area with me. Okay. Yeah. I remember getting Chronic through Columbia House. You know what I'm saying? When you could get like 10 CDs for like a penny or some shit, and then just driving my parents crazy with that. Anyway, but that's like how we got our hip hop back in the day. I love it. Okay, so let me. So we right in there before I get to school and everything, because I got a method to my madness here. Is you know, both your parents are Filipino?
Yeah, both.
So you 100%, 110% Filipino.
Yep.
I love it. So tell me about when you discovered, we're all human beings, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people think I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm a mixed kid. You know, my dad's white, my mom's Filipino. But like, you know, when you're growing up though, you know, all of a sudden, when labeling, you know, is put on us as beings, you know what I'm saying? I wear my Filipino-ness proudly, but like, when did you discover that you were different than everybody else? The Bronx, New York, Brooklyn, I'm sure you said you're in Brooklyn, you know, it's a melting pot, but like, tell me about learning and coming into who you are between those areas. Did you ever experience any racism? Tell me what that was like for you when you discovered who you were.
So when I was little, I was pretty aware of the cultural aspect of being Filipino. We were doing a Tihans every year. So they had me as like a drummer, you know, while we would parade in Jersey or, you know, in Manhattan. You know, there was times where the association would do parades and they would have us drumming, you know, having the paint on our face with, you know, certain like costume designs. And every part of Aklan had different like members, you know, from different parts that had maybe like their own, each town probably had their own costume designs. But, you know, I was pretty aware at an early age, but I was also ashamed when it came to being around like my peers at the time growing up. They would call me Chino, you know what I'm saying? So I was always kind of likened to the Chinese delivery guy every time, like, yo, bro, tell your cousin to give me his food, bro. Like, I'm like, yo, sure, like, you know, but, you know, as you grew up, you know what kind of friends to be around. So I found my circle, you know, when my family moved to 51st Street, and, you know, I met my best friend, Shu, and a bunch of Puerto Rican cats, you know, and even Latinos had their own divisions, you know, with Dominicans, Mexicans, they all had their own differences with them also. So, you know, but being Filipino, you know, when I started to identify with it was in my latter years, you know, like I never used to really rap OD about it because I just didn't know how to like merge it until I, you know, became who I am now.
I feel that. Yeah. And I appreciate you stating that, because that's facts. And I really want those young heads to hear that. You know, everybody has their own journey. I've had a lot of people on here ashamed and you know, kind of, you know, had that colonizer mindset. We assimilated for protection in a way, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, to me, that's just, you know, it's sad, you know, but everybody has their own journey. And then some people come back to it. Some people don't come back to it. But that's why we do ShoPowSho, to give love to our people and just and illustrate that and celebrate, you know, wherever you're going to take on your journey, but you can be proud of it. So I love that you went back to it. But everybody's different. So thank you for sharing that, you know, because you ever see a film with my man Dante Bosco back in the day called The Debut?
No, I haven't seen that actually.
Oh, bro, you got to peep that. There's a really good sequence in there, man, that I think a lot of us as Phil Ams can really relate with. especially that had that difficulty, that, you know, had people that had friends that weren't Filipino. And then like, for example, one of his character, he's bringing some white friends over and they're seeing the spoon and the fork on the wall. And they're like, what is that? And then they see the barrel man. And then they smell that smell in the air. And, you know, that's Patisse in our household. That's good shit for us. But, you know, he felt embarrassed. And so that was beautiful that they illustrated that in a major film, you know, American film, to just like, you know, let that be known about our culture. But, you know, those are things that we have, some people have embraced, some don't embrace, and get embarrassed by it. So you never really had any, well, you had issues with others calling you Chino, from what you told me. That was our own people or just other cultures?
Oh, no, that was definitely like, you know, being around young kids. Like young kids are really like unaware, you know what I'm saying? So they'll use that as like, you know, some way to somewhat make you feel alienated, you know, and you know how kids are when they're in their little groups. But yeah, man, I really experienced that growing up. When I got older and had girlfriends, I would have to fight other older kids, you know, because they would think, because I'm Filipino, they was like, you know, they would think I'm buns or something. I mean, so until you know, like as we grew up, like things got real, and like people would get, you know, I remember a time in college, or I was doing a battle, and one of the dudes, I think somebody like, I said something like where I was making fun of the dude rapping in Spanish, and this was like before like the Jin era, so it wasn't like there was any intimidating factor to an Asian rapper, right? So me and the kid are battling, or whatever the case is, and you know, the crowd voted for me, and when they found I won that round, somebody threw like a pencil at me in the crowd. So I was looking at who it is, and I saw the kid. So whatever the case is, actually I think I lost that round because the kid was in a fraternity and I was a freshman. So it was just crazy because when I left the crowd, I went straight up to the kid and I threw the pen and the pencil. I was like, "What's up, my man?" So he was like, "What's up?" And it was that one hitter quitter. And he just said like that. I got knocked out, and I was like, "Yo, I hope the whole campus sees that." And they did. They definitely, that shit went around town, and that kid was forever mad at me for his whole, until he probably graduated. You know what I'm saying? But
Wow.
But it was one of those things, you know, where they underestimate the fact that you could be just as courageous, just as dangerous as a Spanish or, you know, a black kid, you know, whichever the case is. Like everyone is equal in all rights, you know what I'm saying? So me being a different culture, you know, never made a difference.
Got it. Feel that, bro. I appreciate that. Did you ever have any conversations with family? Did your family ever be like super motivated to keep elements of the culture, like teach you our amazing food, obviously the traditions, and they had you doing like you were saying earlier when you quicksilvered on me a little bit, had you going to, you know, the little different engagements that we do as Pinoys. Is that an important part of your family to keep our culture and our traditions and stuff?
Yeah, they try to keep it family, you know what I'm saying? My mom was teaching my son Mano Po, so he was like, you know, he kind of got, when my mom says, you know, bless, you know, he does the Mano Po. So we're still passing it to the other generation. He lives with his moms in New Hampshire, so it's like a little difference where he might not get that Filipino element. So every time he comes over, I try to, you know what I'm saying, like just keep him around Lola. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
So she always teaches him Tagalog. So
oh, that's dope. That's beautiful. I love that, because my mom stopped teaching me Tagalog. Did you learn Tagalog? Are you fluent?
I understood it though. I definitely understood it, just because I know the situations, the connotations of what's going on. I'm like, oh, so that's what that means? Oh yeah. Okay.
Got you. Yeah, we learned the curse words and certain sayings, but you know, my mom stopped because I grew up a military brat, so I was raised around the world. I didn't get the full education, as it were. All right, man. So let me take you to schooling years, man, when we get into school, because that's where we decide, you know, maybe for the future what we want to become, and we really, you know, develop as ourselves. What was that like, man? What were you into in school? Did you always, you know, we got into a little bit that you got into hip hop and you got into music because of the family, but like, and as I don't know about you, but for the bulk of people we've had, you know, arts and music is fine, but that ain't the career they want us to do. They want us to become lawyers, doctors, or whatever, engineers. So what was school like And did you get pressured to go those kind of routes? And did you get elected or did you take like electives to follow like your art or music? What was that like? Take me to your school years going into high school.
So it's a crazy circle, right? I definitely did well in school. I got a scholarship to go to the high school I was in. And after that, I went straight to Stony Brook, which was a state university. And that's where I started like really getting on stage, doing hip hop battles off the top. You don't know who your opponent is. You don't have 100 bars ready, So like I really got into the art in college, of being on stage performing. And in college, I was studying English writing because it was the only classes that didn't have cumulative tests. You had to study the whole textbook. So I was like, you know what? I'm great at writing. I'm great at words and expanding on things. So let me be an English major. And I also wanted to teach English. My favorite teacher was an English teacher in my high school. So I was like, I want to teach kids how to express themselves in the most eloquent and, best ways possible. So I ended up being an English writing major, but dropped out when I got a job. I started working. And I ended up, still pursuing hip hop because the job was paying for studio time, was paying for beats, was paying for everything, clothes. I can't ask my parents to pay for studio time, like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. I just went with the job, and I dropped out of school eventually, which I'm thinking about actually going back because I do want to travel to the Philippines. So English writing was my last major, and around like 2016. That's when I started writing the comic book, right? And coming full circle, without a teaching degree or experience in teaching, I was able to work for a nonprofit organization teaching 1st to 8th graders for an after school program. And the dude was like, "How can I accommodate your time for you to do this? Because I see you creating comic books. I think this would be a great anti-bullying campaign." So I ended up teaching 1st to 8th graders outside of institutional limits and restrictions, so I was able to teach them what I wanted to teach them, what I felt they would need as tools to overcome, shame of their culture. So I was teaching cultural classes. There was Mexican kids, white kids, black kids, there was little Filipino kids too. And they were like, "Do you read Bayani?" And I was like, I know I'm not everywhere, but when they learned about it, they really became proud of being Filipino in that moment. So I was like, imagine if I go to the Philippines, and I prepare these young kids to kind of like dig into their culture and use that as sources of, writing material and characters, and I noticed that a lot of the Filipinos now are doing that, so being educated in what I knew, writing was actually strengthened everything from the music to the comic books to doing interviews.
Dude, that's absolutely beautiful, man. I love that. Props to you, bro. That's absolutely amazing, man. And giving back to the kids, man. And woo, man. All right, I want to keep on telling this journey. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times I like to walk through this because we don't get our documentaries. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I want to give love, light into you and celebrate you right now to tell our stories. Because, they don't always tell our stories out there. So I think it's important because it's the foundation of what made you to you who you are. And, and hopefully now and then, because I got a lot of producer cats that watch this, they'll be inspired to maybe do your journey. And because that's beautiful shit, like, excuse my language, but that's beautiful stuff that you're doing right there to give back to those kids and inspiring those kids to do amazing things later on in life. So that's absolutely beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing that, Mark. So, all right, so like I said, I wanted to go through school and then coming up out of school, which you took us through a little bit. What came first? Was it hip hop or the comic books? I know we've always been a fan of comic books, but so it was hip hop. So you said in Stony Brook you was writing. Were you like a poetry head as well? Did you do spoken word? You ever do a little bit of that, or was it always hip hop writing the rhymes?
My main influence was Nas, and how lyrical and poetic he is.
Yes,
in a lot of his songs. He's definitely greater than just a rapper. You know what I'm saying? He's a visionary. So like I was really into like almost like modeling his demeanor as an artist. So like for me, like I made a reference in a bar and it was like Filipino Nas and on the Staying Alive freestyle. And the DJ was scratching that wild heavy. I was like, damn, for the DJ to catch that, like he knows like where I'm angling right now. You know, because on the East Coast, being a Filipino, like we're rare, bro. It's not like in Cali where you got wild tribes of people who have the knowledge, who have martial arts backgrounds. You know, they're in Hollywood. On the East Coast, yo, Filipinos are rare gems in each crew. If you know a Filipino, he has to be a warrior, an artist, a dancer, you know, some maybe a cook. There's a lot of Filipino cooks on the East Coast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But yeah, man, like it's definitely something where I feel like God put me on this side of the earth for a particular reason, you know? And it's all in main representation, bro. Like I'm not here for spotlights and being the first Filipino in New York. Like I don't care about none of that. What's most important to me is that I'm representing us. I'm representing you. You know what I'm saying? That when they think of somebody that's nasty, it's not just me, it's a Filipino MC. You know what I'm saying?
I fucking love that, bro. Excuse my language. And you know, everybody, y'all know I curse. I you know, I was in the military and you know, it's just me. And just curse words emphasize my feeling. So there you go. I apologize, aunties, uncles, those titas, you know. Anyway, all the love, man. I appreciate that. And bro, if there was an MC to emulate, man, Nasty Nasir Jones would be the cat. You know, that was my guy in Rakim back in the day. And Q-Tip, I'm a knowledge hip hop, Brooklyn, New York, hip hop head, as it were. So that's why I say, like you and I, Mark, we probably would have really gotten along if I grew up around you, bro. Okay,
we definitely kicked it.
Hell yeah. So Stony Brook is where you decided to hop on stage for the first time, battling MCs and doing it. What was it? What was that like, man? To just put you know, you've been a fan as a kid growing up, to then finally actually do it. Like how did you develop that courage? Do you remember your first rhyme, your first bar? Talk to me about that.
So I actually had the courage to battle because of growing up. You know, we were battling in schoolyards on different people's blocks. We would walk up to the blocks and dudes already know, like when we came through, it was to rap, you know, to spit. So it was just like a great experience, like being able to battle around dudes that are hyping up their mans and probably want to fight you. Like it's just a whole different energy. So being on stage in Stony Brook, like it wasn't just like it was a natural skill, bro. You know, coming from being a little kid, singing all the way to like Filipino Nas, like you know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the young MC that's watching this, what would you say is the key or some of the keys to battling or putting together a bar? If you want to like maybe throw out inspiration or just any of those tips, pro tips from my man, the realist Bayani, Mark Teodosio.
As an artist, I'm not necessarily in the battle realm. That hasn't been like something I've done for a minute. But being an artist in general, I think is you have to love what you do and speak on what you know. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to love doing it. Like you can't do it hoping people love you. Because if that's what you expect, believe me, it's not gonna happen. You know, in the whole beginning of you know, finding yourself. You know, you have to do it because you love it. You know what I'm saying? And never really like copy styles, man. Like these days, it's like everybody sounds like everybody. It's like I can't tell the difference between nobody else. So when they go left, go right, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what makes everyone different and special. That's what made me last this long and stay this passionate. You know what I'm saying? Like if I came from the 80s and I'm still in the 20s of the millennium rapping, like there's a rebirth somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And there's also a timeless quality to why I do it.
Got you. Okay. So Stony Brook was Marvel, or was it your first?
That was Omen Child.
Okay.
That was Omen Child.
So tell me the genesis of that name and how that name came to be in the first moniker.
So the word omen means a sign of something to come.
Okay.
So when I first like took the name, I put an I instead of an E because the E was associated with evil. For me, the third initial being the I is like the third eye. So I would spell it with an I. And that was young, bro. Like Imagine a little kid, like 11-year-old kid, 12-year-old kid saying, "Yo, I'm gonna be Omen Child." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was just a little insight, like where my mind, my consciousness was ready for knowledge. It was ready to open up into what I would become, today.
Wow, bruh. Woo! I love stuff like this. My first nickname, this might, if you're an 80s kid, so you'll remember this, was the Golden Child. I actually still have it tatted on my arm because when I was in high school, because I'm an actor, the first film I ever was in was Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls. I was one of the monks in Ace Ventura 2.
What?
And when I had my head shaved bald, I was also played for a Filipino basketball league. The white dudes were like,
How old are you?
And the black dudes. I was with high school. I was like 17, 17. Wow, this was 1995, 1996. And actually it was the black dudes and the white dudes. Like, you look like the Golden Child from Eddie Murphy, the Golden Child, if you remember that. So that's how I got my first nickname of the Golden Child. And
was that the name of the movie?
Yeah, the Golden Child. You don't remember that, John? Eddie Murphy?
No, I don't remember if it was Golden Child or if it was like Beverly Hills, like some certain part.
Oh, he had Beverly Hills Cop. But yeah, it was the Golden Child. And what was crazy, that the character of the Golden Child was actually a female, but it was a boy in the film. But the actual actor was like a female. What? Yeah, you couldn't tell. A lot of people were like, what? It was really a female in that role? Yeah.
That's crazy, boy.
Crazy. Yeah, it had bald head and everything, but the everybody thought I looked like the Golden Child, and so that's how that became my nickname. And it suited me because at the time I was into hip hop too, and I think like all of us 90s, we were all wanting to be the Wu-Tang and all of that. So that was the first nickname. So Omen Child for you is crazy. I love that. So then the shift to Mark Marvel. Tell me about that.
So from Omen Child, I just felt like the child had to drop. Because I would reach like a certain age or whatever the case is. And there was also another Wu-Tang affiliate named Solomon Child who was also out. So I just didn't really want that whole effect of, and I'm cool with Solomon Child, mad cool dude. He's an OG, he's definitely from the grain. He throws the W up all day. It was just like something I was like, nah, I definitely want my own kind of like lane. So Mark Marvel just had the super ring to it. It was a nickname because I was always with comic books. I was in strip bars with comic books. I was in like barbershops waiting with comic books. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, yo, people would just be like, yo, son, you love comic books. And I was just like, yeah, word, but they knew me as Omen Child. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just go by Mark Marvel, bro. That's my new wave right now. And I was waving out at that time. Like, I was really into performing. I would travel uptown, back to Staten Island, out to Boston. Like, I was doing shows, like, really wanting to get myself out there as Mark Marvel.
I love that, man. So the fever, that hunger to perform was there. So you know what? Let me go ahead. I kind of showed you this earlier. I wanted to share one of your tracks, and maybe we can talk a little bit on it real quick. Let me go ahead and get mic'd up, synced up real quick on my end, and if you can give me a little bit of info about this, man. So here we go. This is End of Summer, my man, as it starts to play.
Yeah, this is it right here. Yeah, this is a great time. So
tell me how this came together. Give me some background. Great vibe on the beat, bro. Who's on the beat?
This is 5 p.m. Shaolin. 5 p.m.
Man up in the comic store.
That was Comic Book Jones.
Who's the comic book store?
Mark Comic Book Jones. They actually closed down.
Oh damn.
They had closed down, but Staten Island, that was one of the best comic book stores in Staten Island. And now they have Jim Hanley's Universe.
Okay.
Right now. So that's a good look. We still got a comic book shop.
All right, good. I wanted to give shout outs to where we can. Let me get back into this. I love giving shout outs to the people, man. We got to give love to them, man. Look at my man. Bro, just the flow and the beat is sick. And when the cup, bro, this is everything I love right here, dog. And I saw your people got the merch on. The city needs you.
Yep,
already back then.
Victoria, Ashley, yep.
Dope. So when did the city needs you start? Back 2016?
Yeah, it started with a logo designed by my boy Che. He originally went by 7 Star, and he did all the designs. He actually was the first one to draw Bayani.
Back to the essence, back. We bring it back to the essence. Bring it back to the
there we go.
What they forgetting about the love. For the love.
All right, cool. I wanted to let that riff go there real quick because flowing. Beautiful, brother. Bro, if that don't make you want to go cop his album right now on iTunes, he got a new joint. What's the new joint that just dropped? Because I just downloaded. We don't own nothing, or we don't owe you nothing, something like that.
We owe no one nothing. The one mixtape.
There we go. Yeah,
that's what.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, bro. I just wanted to make sure I get you some shout outs and hype that. I actually downloaded it, y'all, right before I started doing this to go give my brother some love. So when you're done with this, go to iTunes and cop that. Because
look up Mark Teodosio.
Nice, there we go.
I have to make a rhyme about my name. Mark to the Teodosio. Like I'm gonna have to make something up.
Yes, sir, bro. I love it, man. I love your vibe, man, and the art and the music is just in hip hop. Just woo, after my own soul, bro. Your character after my own soul. So let's talk about now. You know, we threw in the comic books. We got in there. Tell me how the comics started popping off, because I saw this amazing story. There's part of it is a love to a family member in there, right? From what I read about the story. Tell me how that all happened and went down.
Yeah, so my cousin came from Cali to live with my family and stuff like that, and they felt it would be his father felt like it would be a good start for him because he was involved in gangs and drugs at the time in California. So he came out to this side after my mom's got him out of the Philippines. He was locked up out there. He was kind of wilding out. So he got locked up out there and he came back to New York to restart everything. And things were going pretty well. He actually had 3 jobs, I think. I'm not sure if he had the 3rd job. I don't know what he was doing, but he had 2 felonies and 3 jobs. And I just felt like I don't know how no one else on the planet could do that, because a lot of people say they can't do shit with 2 strikes, but he was able to do it. And Marlon Ramos, that's the name of the protagonist. So he passed away from a drug overdose. So I don't know if he had relapse or he just had like bad drugs or he was going through depression. There was no warning signs really. He was mad chill, mad quiet, would just do what he got to do. So we wasn't sure exactly where, the boundaries would be and why it all happened. But it was definitely a bad batch. He had passed away in my mom's crib. I found him in the basement. His body was petrified. I had to try to bring him back to life. It's really crazy because seeing the death and being there when they're dead is a different story from hearing they died. You know what I'm saying? So it was just really wild. So it took me about a few years to digest that, because I was that cousin that would be like, yo, bro, why you like 30-something years old, bro? Why you still doing this? Like, it was really not like, it was like a tough love. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you got to be that way. You got to make people question their decisions and why they're doing it and why they keep falling off. You got to give them that push. But some people just really have, they have those battles where they just can't win. And I guess this was his battle that he couldn't fight. So he had a son in the Philippines when we went to fly out there and bury him. We buried him in like 2012, 2013, I think. It was around like 2013 we flew out there. And I think the hurricane had hit, Hurricane Haiyan, Yolanda, had hit the Philippines and the part that we're from too. So where we were going, the Philippines had hit, but we landed in Manila. People were thinking I was one of those bodies on the beaches, like that was washed up. They were like, "Yo, bro, you alright?" So when we went out there, and it was crazy because I couldn't cry, and metaphorically, I'm thinking like, "Yo, since I couldn't cry tears, God like did this whole tsunami expression of the pain that's following me out there. Like, you know, the storm that came out there and landed when I landed, to me, it was just a form of like some strange metaphor, you know what I'm saying? Like of you know, being back in the motherland, landing there, like seeing like what's going on spiritually out there for the people, you know, and what they're going through. Like, because I've seen a lot of different things out there, like the situation for women out there with, you know, sex trafficking and stuff like that. Like, it's a crazy lifestyle out there. So, you know, and I was exposed to it being American. Like, you know, you don't even know this is happening in the Philippines. You know, all you know is balik bayan boxes and putting your sneakers in them, you know. So going out there was like a different experience for me with burying my cousin. So after those years, it took about like 3 years, 2016. And one of my friends that I work with is like, yo, if you want to write a comic book, you should call it Bayani, yo. And I was like, what's Bayani? And he's like, you don't know what Bayani means? I'm like, nah. And he's like, hero, bro. And I'm like, hero? I was like, let me look this up. Yeah, so my boy's a Puerto Rican cat telling me what Bayani means. And I'm just like, that's crazy. That's dope. So when my boy put me onto the whole name of Bayani and naming a comic book Bayani, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I have a photo shoot where I was wearing a black mask. I'm going to send the artwork to 7 Star. So 7 Star, he has like a portrait style. And I was like, yo, I definitely want to see that as the style for Bayani. So we portraited the whole picture and just threw the Mark Marvel logo. So when you see the double M's on Bayani, that was my Mark Marvel logo at the time, which was created by In The Cut. And funny story about the logo for Mark Marvel is In The Cut just gave it to me like, yo, I just feel like maybe you could put it on one of your comic book characters. And I wasn't writing a comic book at the time. So I'm like, yo, who is this dude? Kang the Conqueror? Like, coming to like drop off a logo for the Bayani? Like, this dude's on some multiverse dropping off stuff ahead of time before I even needed it. So we threw the logo on Bayani's mask, on the mask, put the M's on the hoodie. And I was like, yo, that's Bayani right there. And then as I was going along, like, I was like, yo, what is this story going to be about? Like, he's going to be in New York? He's going to be me? Am I going to be the character? And I was like, nah, you know what? I'm going to resurrect Marlon. I'm going to resurrect him into a literary character so that he can live forever. So his son could think of his father in a greater sense of being, you know? Like, instead of struggling and fighting, he could be fighting demons on a different level, in a different realm. You know what I'm saying? And just surviving for his son to read. So it's been my mission to go back and see his son and show him this Bayani comic book. And, you know, because the last time I seen him, he was mad little, bro. He wasn't really talking. He's speaking Tagalog, like baby Tagalog. And I'm just like, yo, I don't think he knows. I think he thought I was Marlon because I kind of resemble Marlon. I have like a shaved head. You know, I look kind of hip hop. You know, so he was like, Dad? He was like, nah, this ain't my pop. Like, nah. But I was like, yo, what's up, little Zymar? You know, like his name is actually Marlon's and the mother's name, Zai and Saita and Marlon. So it's half their name, Zymar, who's also in the comic book as one of Bayani's kids.
Super dope. That's so absolutely beautiful, brother. Mad respect on that. And rest in peace, Marlon Ramos, man. That's that's heavy, but that's absolutely beautiful and just a wonderful way to you know, pay tribute to the man and have him still live for the family. Like you said, that's, well, man, I can't on that. That just, bro, I'm an older head now and I can cry real quick now because I got a little one, so I know what it's like being a father. And I know you're a father too. So I'm pretty sure you probably can cry quick too, because that's how everything, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what makes this whole life worth it, is that seed that we've planted. And now they're becoming themselves absolutely beautiful. We lost Mark again. I don't know if you can hear me and see me. I'm just keep on carrying through. I see you starting to come back in. Y'all, we apologize for the technical difficulties. This is what it is.
I'm here.
So we're going to keep it going. All right, man, that's absolutely beautiful. So the comic came together. How did you conceptualize it? Was it so you decided to do it? You came up with the concept. Tell me about putting it down, you know, making it a reality. So did you write the scripts and then hiring an artist? Tell me how the whole production came to be.
It's so crazy, man. Like I really give credit to this element of the spirit realm called, where we title our ancestors, right?
Mm.
And I feel like being a Filipino American, we forget our roots. We forget where our parents came from and the original reason why they came here, you know? And for me, I felt like I'm so assimilated into American society, that I forget like who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like America could absorb you so much into the societal factors of working every day, trying to be successful, and just make you forget, certain things about what makes you you being here. Like, why are you part of like, the creation, the product of your parents? And I want to be that. I want to be a product of the Teodosios, of
Mm.
my mother's bloodlines. I want to know who my grandfather was, even though they stayed in the Philippines and died there. I want to know what they were doing,
Ooh.
and a lot of this just brings me back. So it brought me back to the Philippines in my mind, and the way my heart was operating at the time. Once those two things are combined, like your powers really start like generating itself. Like your
Woo.
true powers start revealing itself once your mind, heart, and your spirit, because the spirit's really what makes us eternal. You know what I'm saying? That part of
Mm.
us is the part that's the hardest part to kill. Like a human being could be on their last breath, but because of their spirit, because of what they believe and why they're fighting the fight they're fighting, they may come up and give you that final kamehameha, like out of their soul, and just, defeat you while they're being, while they perish at the same time. Like the human spirit is the most powerful weapon on earth. And if you could weaponize the spirit, this is what Bayani is based on.
Mm.
And it takes time. I wanted people to digest it. I want them to digest parts of the story. So it's taking about 4 issues for me to reveal to the people what it is this book is really about. And it's truly about, like finding who you are on the inside, finding that warrior that was probably on the beaches fighting the oppressor, and coming back here to these front lines where now the battlefield psychological, not about the battlefield is health. You know what I'm saying? Like they've been poisoning us for so long, that we didn't even know how to combat this until recently with this whole COVID thing. Like, what do we do to fight this when you're not giving us medicines, but telling us we're positive? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So the weapons we're fighting, I think Killer Army put it as a title. It's like silent weapons for quiet wars. And this is really what it's about. It's fighting, with knowledge, and fighting with organization, and these are the things that really make most movements revolutionary, and evolutionary, So in writing the plot, I went back to the Philippines and I said, what's going on there now? And I see Duterte taking over, doing what he's doing, palot on the criminals like all day, like dudes is getting it, like like they were on some next level type of stuff, at least through the media that we're receiving. And I was like, yo, this guy is probably like, my parents will look at it like, yeah, they need to start getting rid of that right there, because that's ruining everything. The next generation, their focus, the youth is getting destroyed by drugs. Like that war was probably something that was inhumane in so many ways. Like it was just against human rights. But at the same time, it's like, what does it take to make people change? And it's never like, it takes punishment, bro. If you don't punish somebody, they're not going to learn by you being nice to them, because they're going to get away with it the next time, because they're going to keep getting away with it. So I'm not saying what he's doing is right. I don't think killing's right, but there has to be some type of punishment, right, that makes people not want to do it again, And please, and anyone that has any political views, I'm not for Duterte or against him, because I'm not part of that country. I don't know what's going on. But in the truth of all of humanity, you know what I'm saying? We have to find the gift inside of us. We're not going to find it around us, but the keys is in knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So when I found out what was going on in the Philippines, which I don't know anything about, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, wow, like I need to tell people what's going on out there, because they need to know they got it super easy out here. And I'm not saying easy to the sense of we don't have injustices, but, compared to what's going on out there, like it's crazy, that a lot of us don't see the luxury of living in America. you know, but there's still injustice, right? There's still social injustices, no matter what kind of, you know, what kind of luxuries we may have as Americans, you know. But coming back to the story, Do 30 inspired, you know, the Victor Castro character, this character who is a political gangster, who is willing to do what he has to do to make sure like that his regime, or maybe that's the wrong word, but his, you know, his movement, you know, is actually making changes. You know, that's what people want, right? They want changes. So what kind of changes are you electing into office? You know, and that's the type of justice he was bringing, you know. He's one of those titos, bro.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot there. You was dropping bars, but you ain't even rapping right now. So crazy on that.
The political climate.
I'm a little mixed about Duterte.
Right.
And like you were saying, and I'll agree as well. You know what I'm saying? We're Philams. We're both Philams. We're not living over there. We don't know as much as the cats that are going through it back there. So, you know, it's difficult for us to speak on it. But, you know, we're both educating ourselves.
I've never really spoken on it because of that. Like, I'm like, you know, I don't want people watching this thinking I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, because at the end of the day, I don't live out there. So I'm not with or for him. But seeing what he was doing really made me want to put the pen to paper, you know, and create this version of the Kingpin mixed with Negan, you know?
Okay. I got you. Yeah, it's difficult to me because to me, you know, I don't want to speak out of turn, but, you know, for the most part, you know, they equate him to Trump, and you know, we all know how we feel about Trump in different ways, or at least, you know, I can't stand that orange asshole, but you know, Duarte, but you know, it's inspiring you to create, and then it got you to reconnect with the Philippines and your culture, right? So, because you said from earlier on our conversation, it wasn't until like later that you really got back. So I'm assuming discovering and figuring out that you're gonna do Bayani and then show love to Marlon, that made you dig to learn more about yourself as a Filipino. Was it during this time as well, beyond just the rhymes and everything?
Before Marlon died,
okay,
his main thing for me was, and this echoes through my mind, yo, we got to go back to the Philippines.
Woo! That
was something that stays like tattooed in my memory from words that came from his mouth. Was you got to go back to the Philippines, and it's just crazy because this is where I went with the story. I said, let me, you know, give some type of view for non-Filipinos and Filipino Americans of this political climate. It's not exact to the T with him, but you know, in the Bayani book, he's trying to unite the streets with politics. So he's trying to stop the criminals by giving them jobs because they're poor. They're fighting because they're fighting for these territories. But what if it's all ours and it's not just part of the government or part of these businesses? You know, like it's actually a people thing. So this is where this Victor Castro, the third character, is coming into play.
I feel that, man. So you've been to the Philippines?
Yeah, I've been.
But it's been a minute though.
Yeah, it hasn't been since 2013. So I'm trying to come back.
Got you. So how many times have you been? Was that like your first time?
4 times I've been there.
Oh, wow. Bro, I ain't even been once.
Damn, me.
Right? I know. And that's like life goal. That's bucket list item, bro. But I have to tell you though, man, I'm afraid to be honest with you now though, because of, you know, like we're saying, and again, I don't want to mix up, you know, we don't want to talk too much about Duarte because we're both Philams. We don't know too much, but just by all accounts from the people that I really kick it with, Filipinos, that brother, you know, as we know, he's taking out criminals, but there's those of us that are activists and that are outspoken about the government and in a lot of different things. I've been very outspoken about from what I spoke out at the time, from the knowledge that I know, you know, and even on ShoPowSho here that we're doing and recording, you know, from what I've heard, you know, he's getting the bad guys, but also if you just speak out against the government, he's taking those cats out too. And, you know, that ain't exactly gravy, you know what I'm saying? That ain't right, you know, but, you know, I don't want to have this be a Duterte blasting type joint, but, that's also what's keeping me in a way from going. But I have a lot of friends over at Mix and ABS-CBN, but ABS-CBN isn't really anymore, though. There's like other stuff now that we know, TFC, actually TSC that, but you know, people trying to get me there, and I want to visit the homeland. That's a goal, but I can't. I'd be lying if I wasn't telling you I was afraid. You know,
and for myself, I guess maybe being American,
yeah,
like I believe for us to have a certain not immunity to like that, because I feel like that's all mental at the same time. Like, yeah, it's social, but I don't feel like we're gonna be attacked out there, etc. Like maybe I'm going out there a little pompous, or but I just feel like my political views has nothing to do with what the government's really doing. Like because my opinion is everyone has an opinion, right? But what are you doing to make the change? You're just mouthing off about what you feel and what you think, or you're gonna go be active out there and make that change. For me, like I just feel like we can all have our opinion, and I feel like that shouldn't put fear in your heart to find your roots. You know what I'm saying? Don't let that shit affect you from going out there to meet your the people that could tell you about what you descend from. Like forget all that, bro. I don't even care about none of that. They can kill whoever they want to kill, right?
Ah, damn, we lost Mark, but Mark will come back through again. Sorry, y'all, we're having these technical difficulties. As soon as Mark comes in here, we'll keep this conversation. There we go. He's coming in again. Woo! We having a good time though, man. This is deep conversation. I really appreciate my man Mark coming through, telling me about his feelings. And here we go. We got Mark back up. Mark, can you hear me? Mark is about to come through. There we go. I hear him sniffling. Here we go. My brother's back.
The New York shit.
It's all love, though. It's all love, as you were saying, my man.
Yeah, but nah, man. Don't let that stop you from
what
your soul is.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Yeah. It's a lot of mixed feeling, but that's I think because I got a lot of love out there for ShoPowSho with what I'm doing. I've had a lot of people come through that's been we've recorded in the Philippines, well, through Zoom with cats in the Philippines, amazing stars out there, and they're telling me I got love there. So like I gotta bring this out there at some point. But that's just the difficulty, what I'm saying, when you learn about yourself, our culture and upbringing and everything. But I got nothing but love for my peoples. It's just like, it's just the climate and just learning and growing. But no, I appreciate your words to put me at ease, and mad respect. So all right, so the comic book, you got the fourth issue getting ready to drop soon. I think you just had a successful Kickstarter for that.
We just dropped issue 3, so those are all going out to all the backers of the Kickstarter for issue 3. Issue 4, we're definitely prepared. We're getting it lettered right now.
Dope. I'll be right back in. Here we go. He's coming in again. Again, technical difficulties, y'all, but the city needs Mark right now. ShoPowSho needs Mark. He's gonna be blasting in here in just a second, y'all. It is what it is, y'all. We living in Zoom world pandemic times. They trying to shut us down, but we ain't gonna be stopped. Mark is gonna come back through in here any moment now, and we're gonna keep this conversation going, man. All the love to my brother. Here we go, my man Mark, the realest Bayani. Go ahead, dog.
Yeah, it was getting heavy, bro.
They trying to shut us down, but they ain't gonna stop us. The city needs this conversation.
Fact though.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, man. So yeah, bro. Like, so it definitely brought me back to the Philippines. In so many ways, just through the pen, and I had to do wild research on pre-colonial stuff, because the first issue, I felt like it wasn't Filipino enough. When I first had dropped it, I had a different artist, and this is why Bayani Rebirth came about. I had to basically touch base in the roots. I got interviewed in New York Comic Con around 2018, and it was CNN Philippines. Anton Holmes. I had no idea. Like, he was like, I'm from CNN Philippines, and I was like, all right, cool. I was like, in my brain, I'm like, CNN Philippines. I was like, okay. So I was like, all right. So he started chopping it up with me, and I came to find out that I was one of the only Filipino writers, maybe besides Will Portacio, who did Wetworks and art for X-Men.
Oh, yeah, he's a friend.
But I was like one of 9 Filipinos, and all the Filipinos were artists. There weren't many writers. So for myself and someone like Patricio who did Lumpia movie, like for us to be the writers, And shout out to Budget Town who dropped Trece and broke, doors open for in Netflix. Like, those are major things for us, because the writing aspects of us was, not overlooked, but we didn't really get to break through with that, So like, I salute somebody like Budget Town right now. And rest in peace to Alan. I always forget how to say his last name. He passed away. He was doing a lot of X-Men stuff too. He was really awesome.
You talking about Gary Alan Gulan?
Yes, Alan Gulan. I didn't know. I never knew how to say his last name. No one ever said it like on a format for me to absorb how to say it.
No worries, man. I was a fan, bro. Anybody Filipino that was coming in the comics game, because we Filipinos and we comic heads. So like, when you discovered that cat's Filipino, what? I'm about that cat. Like, I'm gonna support that brother. Like,
yeah, Lionel Yu, right?
Of course, Lionel Francisco. Yeah. There's a lot of us, brother. There's a lot of us in the industry.
Jerome Pena.
Bruh, it's crazy, man. But that's dope. So, Bayani Rebirth, you had the first joint. 2 and 3 is Bayani Rebirth, or is it started back with?
So Bayani Rebirth is the number one, is issue 1 as a deluxe issue.
Got you. Okay.
That's Bayani Rebirth, and that holds a lot of the pre-colonial pages, as well as a more expansive, expansive version of issue 1.
Okay.
Then issue 2 was dropped in 2019. And issue 3 is what we dropped recently. So it reads from Bayani Rebirth, issue 2, 3, and 4 coming up now.
Where so it's a planned 4-issue arc though.
It's gonna be 5 actually.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna be a 5-issue arc.
All right, and then you're gonna maybe consolidate into like a graphic novel after that.
Yep, that'll be the next move after that.
Okay, I love it, man. You got to keep me up to speed with that and come back through to talk about that as that drops. We're gonna continue to give you that love and light because right now it's just a snapshot. You're now part of my ShoPowSho family right now, so I want you to come back. I tell this to everybody, come through. We're gonna continue this, brother.
Thanks, thank you.
Hell yeah, I love it, man. So that's beautiful. Everybody, man. His links are gonna be in the description as well as on the screen when we close it out. Make sure you give my brother all the love and all the follows. So you got that coming, and then this mixtape that I said I copped earlier, right before we started. I'm gonna be blasting that on my ride to work tomorrow, bro. Tell me how this whole mixtape came out and how that all came together with DJ Drop. I think was your DJ on the joint. I'm looking at it right now. Tell me about this new mixtape. Yeah,
so during the quarantine, everybody was on IG lives, and a lot of DJs were going live at that time because they weren't in parties or nothing. So DJ Butch Rock, who's the DJ for CNN, Capone Noriega from Drink Champs, he's his DJ. So he used to go live, and he's cool with my cousin, who runs a brand called Queen's Finest, also a barbershop. And these cats were just like, I was just like, yo, let me just tune in. So I started tapping in, and DJ Drop was in there. And at the time, I asked Butch Rock to do a drop for a freestyle I did over Paid in Full. I called it Paid in Pesos. We have artwork for it too, where it has Rakim and Eric B with Bayani masks, and on I think it was Rakim's hat. Rakim was wearing the hat. It says Paid in Pesos.
I love it.
Yeah, we gotta step up our merch game.
Hell yeah.
But we did that freestyle, and DJ Drop used to love that joint. So he would send me beats. So he'll send me like 9 of these beats. I'm like, yo, I always wanted to freestyle over this. So he'll send me Jizza, Liquid Swords. He sent me Half a Mills, some Ninjas, Mad Lions, and I'll just send him suggestions. And I had like 48 freestyles, like by the end of 2021. And we're like, yo, we need to drop this as mixtape. So we're like, let's upload it. Let's see what happens. Because we're thinking the sample stuff's not going to go through or whatever. But I'm like, yo, all in respect, I paid respects to the originals in the freestyle lyrics, but it uploaded. This show can uploaded it. So I was like, yo, I'm dropping mixtapes on here from now on, bro. Straight up. I got 48 freestyles. That's like, I'm going to drop like 7 like free mixtapes during the year. Like,
so straight. I got more to look forward to is what you're telling me then, right?
Yes. Okay. We got wild freestyles. And in the meantime, I'm going to be probably recording anyway, you know what I'm saying? Just more freestyles anyway. So I didn't want to blow the whole load on like one mixtape with like 70 tracks. I'm like, everybody likes to digest, like, let me send 9 tracks, and we'll probably do that each month. So this month we're definitely dropping another one. Another We Own No One Nothing You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's giving out handouts out here for record deals or anything like that. So we doing everything, bro. From the DJ scratching to engineering to the lyrics. You know, nobody's ghostwriting from me. You know what I'm saying?
Man, let me find out. So we dropped it earlier, right when I was doing the introduction. Tell me how Mixed Global reached out and you did the little freestyle with them. Tell me how that moment came to be.
Mixed Global, they're connected to Heavy Rotation in San Diego. So I'm mad cool with are you familiar with Marlino? From Heavy Rotation Radio?
Possibly. You know what? Marlon sound, but there's a lot. I know a lot of Marlins. So
Marlino?
Possibly. You know.
Well, anyway,
yeah. Let's go.
Heavy Rotation is mad chill. They're super connected to Mixed Global.
Okay.
And Mixed Global, I guess they were shooting with the people. They were using the people who were shooting to link with East Coast artists. And Marlino gave me the heads up. So he gave me the heads up. I went to Brooklyn. It was in a church. And in this church, they had mad different studio rooms, from a classroom to like a room full of lamps to a basketball court to this one room where there was mad TVs in the background. They're like, you got any animations? I was like, yeah, I got a little Bayani, little animation skit I did. And they played it in the background for the Bayani Lo-Fi. I spit Bayani Lo-Fi for them.
Yeah, which was tough.
Yeah, it's on the Bayani soundtrack. So when people read Bayani Rebirth or any of the comics, I got the soundtrack for that.
Yo, is the Bayani soundtrack on iTunes too?
Yeah, it's Bayani soundtrack's out. It was dropped in 2020.
I'm about to put money into iTunes again right now. God damn. You're going to get on my loot, bro. I'm going to drop another little bit of change for you, man. Okay.
That's Apple Music. They're taking all the money. They give me 0.00006 cents per stream.
Yeah. Hey, man, but I'm going to do what I can to support, brother. I love
Appreciate you, bro.
Hell yeah. So that's beautiful. I'm trying to remember. You got me thinking of names too, who I know, because I know a lot of cats at Mix and Heavy Rotation, I believe. And there's this other, you know what? I don't want to take pause and give another cat's names out, but all the love. That's beautiful. So man, pandemic times ain't stopping you, obviously. You putting together comic books, you dropping mixtapes. So tell me about the goals, Mark Teodosio, the realist Bayani, what we doing? You just rocked with my man Patricio and Lupia with the Vengeance. They got the next joint and they put your character Bayani on one of the variant covers. Tell me what we building here right now. Goals coming up for my man.
So for myself, it's always been my dream to connect to Filipinos. It was really hard for me to do that just through hip hop alone, which is why I couldn't really express my Filipino-ness through the lyrics as much as I wanted to now. So when I started doing Bayani, more Filipinos started coming to me. When I did the Lapu Lapu piece with 2 golden Uzis, wild people started tapping in because they had the Austronesian tattoos, the Basayan tattoos, and that attracted a lot of Filipinos to my page. And then when I went on Clubhouse during quarantine, there was a lot of Filipino rooms that I entered and expressed, creating Bayani, and a lot of people tapped in there, So it's always been my goal to be connected to Filipinos and through. Wait, what was the beginning of the question?
What you got going on that you coming? You already breaking it down. Go ahead. Yeah, you good.
Basically. Yeah, so that led me to Maharlican Chronicles, who's another creator.
Fam,
that's the curator of Igorot Sky on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
I
think that's how I first discovered you, because you had that like art piece that you had dropped with the cat with the tattoos and everything, and I think that's like when I first kind of came across your work.
Because Campion Co shares a lot of Filipino indie creators.
Yeah.
And when they dropped me on their page, mad people started flocking, showing wild love too. So shout out to Campion Co. And Lumpia with a movie. I mean, Lumpia with a Vengeance.
Yeah.
They connected with me online too through the gram. I think I tapped into them as well. I'm not sure where it started.
Yeah.
But you know what? It was Pat. Pat had hit me up on a message saying, "Yo, I want to put Bayani on this cover because we're coming to New York to do a screening."
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, no doubt, bro. Do that. I'll put people on. And at that time, you needed to be vaccinated to walk in. I was
Yeah.
like halfway vaccinated, so
Yeah.
I couldn't even watch the film. But Pat came out to New York with his artist Lawrence, who did the cover,
Yep.
and Lawrence they gave me like 5 copies, and I was just sitting in like a Bonchon or a Starbucks, like, damn, I wish I was double vaxxed. I was like, I don't know, man, Moderna or Pfizer, which one am I doing next week? Because I cannot get dubbed the next
Yeah.
time I need to walk in somewhere.
Yeah. Yo, those are good peoples, man. I remember I was supposed to come up because we did an interview right before the film festival, and they're like, "Yo, you gonna come up?" I was like, "I don't know." Still trying to make, bro. It's crazy times, pandemic times, So, and I got family that are affected, so I gotta watch out with all of that. Although I got my shots in, I got my booster. So, but still being careful because you never know, man.
So that's part of the goals. It's just really promoting Filipino culture more.
I love it.
Through Bayani, hopefully getting Bayani like where we finish the series and then get to a new table, another table, maybe take it to where Tres took it, do an anime, or an live action film, because it's all doable. Netflix is willing to put money behind people that have great ideas and completed projects. So this is why the main goal is finishing the 5th issue.
I love it. Yo, and we gonna keep this connection going because I know a few peoples, what I'm saying? I know you know a few peoples, and now that as I said with Patricio, everybody, Lawrence has been on. I've had interviews with all those cats, a bunch of the ABS CBN, ton of people. Y'all know you on here because you've seen the playlist. You know who we know. It's all love, and it's all about the community coming together. And that's what ShoPowSho has been for me, and now you're part of this family, brother. Because a rising tide lifts all boats. You know what I mean? That's the energy we keep in 2022, and we gonna help you build up and do what you and support you with what you're doing, man. I love it. Again, man, like I could rock with you all day because you and I have so many of the same passions and so many of the same things that we love. Like I think we could really hit it up and talk all day. And yeah, man, if you ever come through the DC area, man, we gonna have to connect, man. I'm gonna have to show you around. You ever come around this way before? You ever perform down here?
You mean what is that? The DMV?
DMV, baby. DC
yeah, for sure,
area?
for sure. I'll connect with you for sure.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have a couple shows we also planning around here. Also VA Beach area. We definitely gonna have to plan some stuff up because with you're an MC and we're planning to do some live event performances as well.
Yeah, man, I want to get out of New York, bro.
We getting the ShoPow showcase together, if you will. So you hearing, and actually I think some of these cats that haven't peeped this yet, we're working on a ShoPow showcase. So we're gonna have MCs on there, comedians on there. It's gonna be a lot of love, man. So I'm ready to have you be a part of this family. Yo, Mark, before we sign off, man, what we like to do to close it out is and I think you're gonna definitely pass this conversation or this question is if you had to give a nerd talk, because we are NRW where nerds rule the world. If you had to give a nerd style TED talk on something, what would it be about? And you can't give me anything people already know. I want to surprise the folks. Let's surprise people, your peoples that are going to be watching this interview, what they may not know about Mark. What are you really nerdy about that you could give a TED style talk on? And it doesn't have to be traditional shit like Star Wars, Marvel, whatever. Yeah, matter of fact, you can't use Marvel. We already know you're a Marvel head. What could you give a TED style talk on? I've had people that are nerdy about politics, about taxes. What could you really rock and talk about that a lot of people don't know about?
I would probably have to go into like Fallen Angels.
Oh, so tell me what Fallen Angels is? What is that?
So I've always had this fascination with like the fall of different, like, because there was 2 different falls in the Bible. There was the fall of Lucifer,
going
and
that
then
route.
there was the fall of Lucifer and the fall of for the daughters of men. So it seemed like there was multiple insubordinations in the hierarchy of heaven. So for me, like, that's something like, because I'm Christian, but I'm also decolonized, so that's a different kind of Christian right there. So it's like, for me, it's like I've become passionate about that because of a book by a woman named Claire Elizabeth Prophet, and she was writing about a writer named Origin who was writing about, you know, it was basically fighting a war. You know what I'm saying? That has been going on for wild long. And it's pretty much been going on for wild long.
Yeah.
You know, like the things that are happening with the government, like this whole you know, process of elimination. You know, it's just crazy. Like these are all acts that are happening now. Behold the pale horse, all these aspects, you know, fallen angels, aliens, like these are all things that I really like. I haven't had super extensive, you know, like knowledge of, but I've had years of being fascinated by it. So if it ever came down to a TED talk, I would probably talk about fighting that invisible war, you know?
Wow. Bro, real talk. I love this. You learn so much when you ask questions like that. So I appreciate that answer. So now if I ever come into that stuff like that, I'm gonna holler at you, be like, yo, bruh, you got to know about this, or, you know, tell me a little bit more. I appreciate that answer.
Yeah, you got to know why they took certain books out the Bible, bro. You know,
look at my man dropping bars. He ain't even battling right now. All right, brother. To close it out, man, any last words? And also, how can they reach out to you, follow you? I'm gonna have the information in the description below, as well as on the screen as we leave out. How can they holler at Mark Teodosio and the realist Bayani? Drop them socials, bro.
All right, just tap in with me on YouTube. The City Needs You. That's the publishing company. Follow The City Needs You on Instagram. It's pretty much easy to find me online. If you go to my Instagram, Bayani.nyc, that has my name, Mark Teodosio, on there. So if you can't spell it, Teo to the Dosio, just find it on the gram, Bayani.nyc, at The City Needs You as well. Stay tuned for everything coming up soon. Issue 4 coming soon. Shout out all my Filipinos. You know the tribe.
Yes, sir. Yo, it's in the description below, as well as you see it on the screen. Give my brother love. Give him the follows. Give him the subscribes. Head over to iTunes. Cop his music like I did. I'm about to cop his other joint right now. Do all of that. Let's support our Kababayan, our Barkada. Show my brother love. I hope to have you back as the next issues drops, as the next mixtapes drops. And actually, I think I'm gonna holler at my man to see if he can record a new intro for me. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see if he has that in him, if he can talk to me about that. All right, yo.
Kuya P, I got you.
My man, you see, I slid that in there. My brother, Mark Teodosio, the realest Bayani. I can't wait to hang with my brother, show you love, brother, break bread with you. This has been amazing. Give my brother all love. For me, it's the legend Kuya P on Twitter, TikTok, and IG. And of course, here at the NRW and at New Release Wednesday, where nerds rule the world. Me and my brother Mark are card-carrying nerds. And you know what I'm saying? It's all good. You know, nerd used to be a bad thing, quote unquote, back in the day. But brother, we run the world now, y'all. So just get with it. Get with it. All right? My brother Mark, we out of here. We love y'all. Mahakita. Salamat. Right.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Mark Teodosio, aka Bayani, and I'm over here in the ShoPowSho. If you want to know how I got that mask on to be that Filipino street hero that the city needs, tune in, y'all, with Kuya P. You heard? You know the tribe. What does my Filipino heritage mean to me? Me being a Filipino-American New Yorker, is so important for me to just really tap in with what my parents have first showed me in the whole purpose of being out here. You know, they tell me and they've inserted in me, you know, educate yourself, right? But not, you know, you come to America, it's not the same when you're a Filipino American, right? So not everybody wants to finish college. Some people are entrepreneurs. So for me, it's all about that tribe aspect, that Bayani Han spirit. You know, when I was taught what Bayani Han is and how the village operates, it helped me understand what it is to really operate in this new world here in America as a Filipino American, just tribing up with people with resources, people with expertise, people that are well connected in certain fields. What can we do to, you know, basically operate in a single purpose? You know, so for me to understand these terms in my Filipino heritage, it adds to my weaponry to succeed as well as empower the people around me.